Do you feel in control of your choices, or is your destiny pre-written? Now imagine this. What if our world is a simulation, and everything you do, think, or feel is dictated by lines of code? If we live in a simulated universe, do we still have free will, or are we just sophisticated characters following a script written by an unseen programmer? This question isn't just hypothetical. Philosophers, scientists, and futurists have debated the nature of free will for centuries. In the context of a simulation, the debate takes on a new twist. Can free will exist in a world that is, by definition, controlled? Or does the illusion of choice mean that free will doesn't matter as long as it feels real? Today we'll explore the paradox of free will in a simulated world. Are we puppets with invisible strings, or do we have the power to choose, even if the stage is set? Let's dive in. The simulation hypothesis has sparked discussions across fields ranging from philosophy to physics. Popularized by philosopher Nick Bostrom, the idea suggests that what we perceive as reality might be an artificial construct, a simulation created by an advanced civilization or intelligence. This theory raises many profound questions, but one stands out. If our reality is simulated, do we have free will? Free will, the ability to make choices independent of external constraints, has been a cornerstone of human philosophy. Religions, legal systems, and ethical frameworks are built on the assumption that individuals can choose their actions. But in a simulated world, where every particle and event might be programmed, does true freedom exist? To understand this paradox, let's first define free will. In its simplest form, it's the capacity to make decisions autonomously. However, in a simulation, autonomy could be an illusion. If every aspect of our universe, including our thoughts and actions, follows pre-programmed rules, then free will might be a clever mirage. Yet some argue that free will can exist in a simulation. If the creators designed the simulation to allow unpredictability, could that unpredictability translate to free will? Or does the very act of creating a simulation imply that the creators control everything within it, including us? These questions challenge not only our understanding of reality, but also our sense of identity and purpose. If free will is an illusion, what does that mean for how we live our lives? And if it's real, what does that say about the nature of a simulated world? The paradox of free will in a simulated world boils down to a clash between determinism and autonomy. If our world is governed by a program, it might function like a video game. In a game, characters follow preset rules, yet advanced simulations could make these rules appear indistinguishable from true randomness. The problem is figuring out where freedom ends and programming begins. One major challenge is the concept of determinism. In a simulation, every action might be the result of a programmed algorithm. If we decide to have coffee instead of tea, was that choice made freely? Or was it determined by variables embedded in the simulation? This raises the unsettling possibility that what feels like free will is just an illusion created by sophisticated code. Another issue is the role of the creators. If someone or something designed our world, they must have set the initial conditions. Could they intervene at any moment, subtly guiding or controlling events? If so, our autonomy could be an illusion, as we're ultimately subject to the creator's will. However, the challenge extends to the very nature of consciousness. Are we self-aware because the simulation allows it, or is consciousness itself a programmed phenomenon? If our thoughts arise from processes dictated by the simulation's architecture, then how can we claim to have free will? Finally, there's the question of morality and responsibility. If free will doesn't exist, how can we hold anyone accountable for their actions? How can we blame, praise, or punish behaviors that were predetermined? These challenges not only complicate our understanding of free will, but also force us to reconsider the foundations of ethics, justice, and society itself. Let's dive deeper into this paradox by examining arguments on both sides. On one hand, free will in a simulation might seem impossible. If our actions are the result of algorithms or preset conditions, then every decision we make might be a product of the system's design. This aligns with the deterministic view of reality. Everything has a cause and nothing happens independently of the system's rules. Quantum mechanics, however, complicates this view. At the smallest scales, particles behave unpredictably, defying deterministic expectations. Some scientists argue that this randomness could point to free will within a simulation. If the creators build a system that incorporates genuine randomness, perhaps our choices aren't entirely predetermined. Another perspective comes from the concept of emergent phenomena. Even in a programmed system, complexity can arise in unexpected ways. For example, artificial intelligence systems often exhibit behaviors that surprise even their developers. Could human consciousness and free will be emergent phenomena, arising naturally within the framework of a simulated universe? The nature of the creators also matters. If they design the simulation to observe natural behavior, they might allow for true unpredictability. Alternatively, they might intervene only rarely, giving us the illusion of autonomy while steering events toward a desired outcome. But what about the emotional experience of choice? Even if our decisions are determined, they feel real to us. Does it matter whether our freedom is authentic if it feels authentic? This question highlights the subjective nature of free will. It might not exist objectively, but if we experience it, does that make it real enough? The climax of this discussion comes when we consider the implications of both perspectives. If free will is an illusion, does that diminish our humanity? Some argue that acknowledging this paradox liberates us. If our actions are predetermined, then we can let go of guilt and judgment. We are simply actors in a play, performing roles within a grand narrative. On the other hand, the argument for emergent free will within a simulation presents a hopeful view. If consciousness and choice can arise naturally from complex systems, then free will might exist, even in a world governed by rules. This perspective suggests that autonomy doesn't require absolute freedom. It only requires a system complex enough to create the perception of choice. The breakthrough moment is realizing that the question of free will might not be about whether it exists, but about how we define it. If free will means complete independence from external influences, it's hard to see how it could exist in any reality, simulated or not. But if it means the ability to make meaningful choices within the constraints of a system, then free will might be alive and well, even in a simulated world. This realization reframes the paradox. Instead of asking whether free will exists, we can ask, what does it mean to experience choice? And does that experience make life worth living, regardless of the underlying reality? The paradox of free will in a simulated world forces us to confront deep questions about reality, consciousness, and identity. If we live in a simulation, are our choices truly ours, or are they dictated by unseen algorithms? And if free will is an illusion, does that diminish the meaning of our lives? Throughout this exploration, we've seen that the nature of free will depends on how we define it. While a strict deterministic view might suggest we are merely following a script, the possibility of emergent phenomena and quantum unpredictability leaves room for hope. Even within a programmed system, consciousness and choice could arise in ways that defy explanation. Ultimately, the paradox of free will in a simulated world isn't just a philosophical puzzle. It's a deeply personal question. Whether or not our choices are truly free, they feel real to us. And perhaps that feeling, that experience of autonomy, is what truly matters. By reframing the debate, we can focus not on proving or disproving free will, but on understanding what it means to live meaningfully in a complex, mysterious universe. What's your take on the paradox of free will in a simulated world? Do you believe our choices are truly our own? Or are we just players in a pre-programmed reality? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. If this topic intrigued you, check out our other videos exploring the simulation hypothesis, the nature of consciousness, and the mysteries of existence. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us as we continue to question the fabric of reality. Let's explore these big ideas together. Thank you for watching.